Greetings everyone, welcome to Advance. This game was played in 1963 in a memorial in Hungary, and with the white pieces we have the magician Mikhail Tal. With the black pieces we have someone called Eleazar Jimenez. I don't have much information about who that person is, so we're just going to start the game and see how the game goes. So without further ado, let's start with this game. We have e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to c4. Going for the Italian game, we have knight to f6, d4, e captures, e5, just attacking the knight, but in this position, just going for a d5. A standard opening variation, and we have bishop to b5, but just knight to e4. And here in this position, just knight captures on d4, and here bishop to d7, because that knight was pinned. We have bishop captures, b captures, but here just castles by black, castles by white, and we have bishop to c5, just trying to pin this and also maybe invite Tal to actually go for f3. F3 in this position is absolutely fine because here after knight to g5 you'll play this f4, and here after knight to e4 you play bishop to e3, and after bishop to b6 you play knight to c3, and after knight captures on c3, b captures, castles a4, a5. You'll most likely see rook to e1, rook to e8, bishop to f2, and here after bishop captures you play c captures, improve your pawn structure, and here most likely after bishop to f5 we'll see this rook jumping in on this file, and white will enjoy a very nice game. But here after bishop to c5 we have bishop to e3 by Tal, just immediately going for it, and we have queen to e7, and here just f3, and you can see amongst all of those move order is just a little bit different, but the moves are absolutely same. But here just black still hasn't castled, and we have knight to d6, just going for a very nice move, because here you cannot capture because your bishop would be hanging, so you have to be careful about that. Bishop to back to f2, but now knight to f5, and here just putting extra pressure on that bishop. We have rook to e1, knight captures on d4, and here after bishop captures, castles by black, and finally just knight to c3, and here we have rook f to b8, rook to b1, rook to b4, and finally just putting some pressure on that bishop. But here just comes knight to e2, just defending, just putting an extra defender against that bishop, and we have rook a b8, b3, rook captures, a bishop captures on b4, d4 with a check, knight captures, and here just queen comes in. Now there's a lot of pressure, and there's only one move you can play. You cannot defend it via any rooks, so you have to go for this c4, just trying to cut off that attack. And here once you capture, that was played in the game, you just move away. And here after c captures you just play this knight captures on b3. We have queen to e7, rook to c1, h6, and we have this knight to c5 attack, just double attack on that bishop, so bishop needs to move, bishop to e6. And here's already a critical moment of the game where you can decide how the end game, how you want it to be, because black is absolutely strong in this position. White is not lost. I mean, Tal is not lost in this position, but black is definitely better. And playing something like this, trying to fork both the rooks, is the second best move in this position. What you want to play here, you want to go for this knight captures on e6, and here after queen captures, now you go for queen to c2, rook 8 to b5, and here after h3, rook captures, queen captures, and here after queen captures, here you're gonna have a great game, no issues whatsoever. That fork would not have given you as much as you wanted it to be, but sometimes just a little things are enough for Tal to convert it to a win. Because here after bishop to e6, Tal does go for knight to a6, forking both the rooks. But here in this position, here Eleazar in this position goes for rook to d8, attacking the queen, but there is a very, very amazing move for white in this position. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video and try and find out the only move which grants a winning position for white, while I give you a couple of seconds. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move, and the move is the beauty on d8, just sacrificing the queen, because here after queen captures you get to enjoy the knight rook as well. And here after queen to d2, now attacking everything, you play just knight captures pawn, and here after queen captures you need to knight to d4, just attacking that bishop. Two rooks against a queen will be much better in the end game, and Tal knows this. a5, knight captures, and here after queen captures we have rook captures on c7, just grabbing that pawn. You could also go for a move like f4, but you have to realize that here after queen to f5 you're gonna have to play rook to f1, just defending that pawn. And if you do this, then you weaken your king side a bit too much. So here after a4, now you play rook captures on c7, a3. After rook to a7 you play queen to d3, and here after rook to e8 check, king to h7 you play rook to a1, queen to d4, rook captures, queen captures on f4, and here after rook to e1, queen to c4. Now just you play rook a to a3. Now after e6, rook to a1, queen to c6, after e6 captures, and here just doubling up. After e5 you just capture it, and you'll get this in game. Most likely it's going to be a draw, so you don't want any of that to happen. Tal wants to create chances because he thinks that it's going to be much likely that he's going to win this game. So here rook caps on c7, queen to b6, and here just e6, just trying to just directly go for this. And here in this position f captures on e6. because you cannot really capture the rook, if any of you are wondering, because this is just going to bring out another queen, so you cannot really do that. So here after f captures on e6, we have this rook to e7 just trying to grab that pawn, and we have a4. And now after rook captures, we have queen to b3, but now you can understand that white is much better because he's able to grab that pawn as well. And now I have a 3 to 2 advantage in the king side, so it's very much likely that I'm going to win this game. So here rook 6 to e3, rook to b2, and we have rook to e2. We have queen to c3, rook to d1, and here just queen to c4. We have rook to d2, king to h7, and here rook to a1. We have queen to c3, rook to a2, and now most likely you're going to lose that pawn as well, and it's going to be very much difficult. Here queen to b3 was played, but here just rook rook caps on a4, queen to b2, rook to a7, and queen to d4. But you're going to have to be careful about this because you have to put your king in a safe place so that perpetual doesn't exist in the position. So here after rook to a4, queen to c3, rook to d1, and we have queen to b3, rook a to d4, queen to c2, rook to d7, and here just queen to c4. We have h3, now going for this queen to b3, but here just rook to e1. Now Tal is just preparing this. We have queen to b4 and rook to e7, and queen to b4 just does not work in this position. And now whatever you do, this is coming. You can try and give some checks, but then you don't have any follow-up. You can try this, but I can just block. So then you have to understand that it's going to be a completely winning position from there onwards, and nothing you can do. So here it was on this position. His opponent, Eleazar Jimenez, resigned the game, and Tal got the spectacular victory in 49 moves after sacrificing the queen on that move. And he was able to get a very nice position, which he thought was going to be winning. His opponent blundered, and he was able to get the win. That's exactly what he does. Always he tries to complicate things, and there his opponent blunders, trying to think that he's in a winning position. But then Tal takes over, and once he takes over, he's in a completely winning position. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned in the channel, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you all.